guys, this is Elena, and today I would like to share with you the books that I read in the first 2 weeks of January. In Russia I have pretty extensive public holidays, and then I had like sick leave to boot, so there was like lots of free time, and that resulted into 6 books I'm going to show you today. And if you wonder why the hell I still have the Christmas tree behind me, I will explain you this very soon. Well, the first book is a mere jump on a bandwagon, I confess. And to my surprise, I loved it more than I expected, and I'm talking about The Famous Side by Neil Shusterman. As most of you know, this is a story that is set in a futuristic world where people know no disease, no death, but they do know sites whose duty is to cull the population, but not in monstrous way. And here we get to know 2 teenagers who are selected to be trained and become scythes, but there will be one but, of course. Well, what I loved about this book is not the story of these apprentices, but the diaries of the existing, like real sites. And it really made me pondering on the questions of death, on what it takes to take someone's life, and actually on a toll that it takes on you when you represent the death. Because sites, they are not like supernatural creatures, they're just like a special league, a trained people who had this right to take people's lives to balance the population on the planet. And well, as I said, I loved it more than I expected, and I love like the moral aspect of this book, and it definitely made my moral gears to spin faster. This is the first book in the trilogy. I'm not planning to read further books, but if at some point I want to read something of this kind, I will definitely get back and read the second book of this series. The next book was so pleasurable. I can't recall the last time I was reading the book and I was tasting it the way I was tasting Euphoria by Lily King. This is a story of 3 anthropologists who studied tribes in New Guinea in 1920s, and these anthropologists, they're actually based on real people's life. It's Margaret Mead, her husband, and one more comrade of theirs. But of course, this book is tribute only to Margaret Mead's life and her work. And I don't know where to start from this book. First of all, it's so greatly written that you will feel yourself sitting and resting on this tree, in this house tree, and like resting on a riverbank and observing these women that wearing gorgeous necklaces made of feathers and seashells. You will just feel yourself in there. It has a power to transfer you in there. And you will also be fascinated by this tiny lady, Margaret Mead, who is called differently in the book, of course, that she was such a tiny lady, and she contained this prodigious zeal for knowledge. It was like mind-blowing. I still like can't believe, this was real. And story itself, of course, they will talk about their lives, about the studies, but through the studies of tribes, you will learn a lot about society as such, and also about man's vocation, passion, or destination. It will like really make your brain works a bit faster. And if you like books or movies such as Out of Africa or The English Patient, this is definitely will be your next gem. The next 2 books I was planning to read in December because they're somewhat Christmas-ish, but I just didn't have a time. But in Russia we celebrate Christmas on January 7th, that's why I have the tree. And you ask me again, but it's like 15th of January, why it's still here? And I will have answer to that as well. Well, I thought that still we have Christmas in Russia, so these books are still valid to be read in January. And first of them was Letters from Father Christmas by Tolkien. Oh my god. So this book is actually a collection of letters that Tolkien sent to his kids over the years, and not only he like faked writing, so the Christmas, oh my god, so that the kids do not recognize him, but he also illustrated his letters. And I think this is experience that every kid like deserves. And I was so sad that I wasn't one of his kids that got these amazing, awesome, enthralling letters. But okay, what can I do? I can become Father Christmas for my nephews, and this year I'm definitely going to do something like that, create stories, like illustrate them and send to my nephews, because I want them to experience this magic that I like experienced by reading this book. And it was so awesome to think that it's not just a fictional story, but it's a real dad doing this awesome stuff for his kids. Unbelievable and heartbreaking, but in a very good way. So I definitely love it. And if you didn't have chance to read this yet, I really urge you to buy it, keep it, wait for December, and then read it first thing. Second to last, we have a novel, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of Universe. What I discovered, an amazing young adult book, which came to me as complete surprise because I do not fancy this genre at all. I love the movies, but not the books. Okay, so in here we will get to know story of two 15 years old Mexican American guys who live in 1980s. Aristotle is a quiet guy who doesn't have too many friends, but not because he's a loser or freak, nope. He just like not that enthusiastic about his life. And he has pretty awesome funny mom and they have good relationship whilst his dad is a bit enclosed and there is a reason for that. So one day he meets Dante, the guy who's completely opposite to him. He's like super talk active, extrovert, who has great relationship with the parents. And so they start to hang out together, become friends, and they will discover the secrets of universe, of use, and they will discover themselves. Well, if you ever been 15 years old, you will just travel back and relive your youth and you will relive the question that you made to yourself, like questions on challenges, questions on what fair, what is unfair. And honestly speaking, I know why I love this book. I could so relate to Aristotle. It was like following myself in some parallel world or in some alternative universe. I just so could understand him and I really tied myself to him, and that's why I love the book and I loved like every page of it, and it definitely will make one of my favorite books of 2020s. It's like I know it for sure. And the last book for today is a semi-autobiographical novel written by Betty Smith, and it's famous at Tree Gross in Brooklyn. Well, in here you'll get to know a story of poor American family and the struggles. This family lives in the beginning of 20th century, and the main character is adolescent Francie, who understands very well the situation of your family, and still she managed to find something good in every day, which is like kind of surprising. And of course, this book is about upbringing, growing up, about life's burdens, about hustling for making a living. But overall, I think this is a story, this is a portrait of the Americans who didn't have like the stellar life back in that period, and also portrait of America itself back in that time. I can't even say that I love this book because it's filled with so much pain, but also it's written sometimes in so positive and optimistic way that I'm really conflicted about it, and as it's somehow my recent read, I'm still like pensive about it, and maybe I will have my point about this book more clear later on, but for now I just can say that I understand why this book's considered classic in the US. Voila, so these were the books that I read so far in January. More are coming, of course. But speaking of these six, four of them are definitely right now have a special nook in my heart, and I'm so grateful that I bought them someday for some reasons. And I hope you have been having like a wonderful read also, and it's gonna be like not just in January but throughout the years. And speaking of the tree, so my birthday is tomorrow on 16th, and we always keep the Christmas tree for one extra week after the Christmas, and it stands up to my birthday, so next time you will not see it. And today is the last time you see me 31 years old. And this means that I will see you soon, next time, but actually in the next year of my life. And for now, bye 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 bye.